Wait, I didn't do it right. That was Beavis. How does he do it again?
I can't even. Can we just keep this?
We just saw Wolf Creek.
We just saw Wolf Creek.
Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie.
I'm Marcia.
And we are here to do another Patreon requested review, you guys.
I'm crying.
This one is actually, you know what? This one is not technically a Patreon requested review. The sequel, they requested us do a commentary for Wolf Creek 2.
No.
And so how could we do that without watching Wolf?
And I haven't seen one.
Yeah, really, that's what that guy was sounding like when he requested.
Maybe it was the guy that was in Wolf.
Maybe it's
Yeah, it's Nick.
like, please watch my movie.
Watch this. All right, so,
so much
we're
fun.
here to talk about Wolf Creek, you guys.
I'm dying. Oh my
This is an Aussie slasher, and but yeah, this is actually this is a slasher that I really enjoyed the first time I saw it years ago when it came out. Because this came out when I was you okay? This came out when I was frequenting Blockbuster still. Blockbuster was still around.
Yep. I think I bought this movie from Blockbuster.
I wouldn't be surprised because you know that's.
Spend money on this movie.
I liked it. I enjoyed it because it was honestly it was more brutal than a lot of these movies were back then.
I'll tell you what was brutal.
All right, Susie, relax. Rein it in. Rein it in.
It's like shooting hoops.
All right, so here's the deal. I think I enjoyed the movie overall. Susie did not.
It was really hard for me to pay attention. Like, to keep interest in it.
Why?
'Cause I don't... Why? I don't know. Like, but why, girl? I don't know.
Why, though?
I don't know. I wasn't struck by anything except for...
Fair enough. Marcia. Marcia.
I really enjoyed this movie. Just basically when it came out, like you said, it was actually like during the time these type of movies were big, like Hostel, and a couple other
Hills
ones.
Have Eyes.
See, I
Hills
love
Have Eyes.
Hostel.
This came out like right around the same time, and so
Even
it
High
was,
Tension, I think.
High Tension was like I think I watched them back to back actually.
Yeah, they were very similar feels.
Very similar, and I did like the idea of the girl being more strong than
For a bit.
than you normally get out of these situations.
Yeah.
Like she definitely outlasted other people, so I thought that was cool, and I thought it was, like you said, it was really brutal, and it was like wow, like they didn't hold back.
It was one of the earlier times, and this is kind of, I guess, jumping straight into the effects. One of the earlier times I can remember being genuinely creeped out by the kind of layer of this killer, who first off, well, I guess let's just stick to the story, and then we'll get to the effects later. So the story is all of these kids in Australia are, some American, some not. They're all going on some kind of...
They're not American.
Well, is one or no? I thought the girl wasn't. Was she British?
They were
all Australian?
They were all
they're
tourists.
I thought they were all tourists. Yeah,
They're
because even
they're
says
not from Australia.
tourists.
They're English. They're British. They're not from Australia.
Okay,
They're tourists.
who could tell?
Yes, tourists, but I mean they're not American.
Nonetheless, okay, they're not American.
They're all American.
Sorry for projecting on the characters, but nonetheless, they're tourists in Australia, and they actually spend a good amount of time having you get to know the characters and seeing the ins and outs and the oopses and the uh-ohs and things like that. Like that character probably shouldn't have done that. Which, they use to play with tension later, but I even think that a lot of that setup was kind of squandered considering how little they actually interacted later in the movie.
See, like I think what it was, the movie felt very predictable to me.
Really? Because I felt they subverted expectations on a pretty regular basis.
No, I think that's what it was. It was like extremely formulated.
At this point, I agree. At this point in 2019, I think
Yeah.
yes, there's been a lot that have kind of emulated what they've done. So now the subverting of expectations are no longer that
Yeah, because I
subversive.
just saw this
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
last night.
See,
For the
that would
first
be,
time.
That
Okay.
would be the difference because we watched it when it came out.
Okay, yeah. See,
which
and-
is before a lot of the stuff that
Okay,
has
Right.
see, like,
taken. Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
just saw it last night.
Yeah, so like
for the first time.
if you go back like around like Hostel times and
See, I fucking loved Hostel. Like I
Right.
said, I loved Hostel.
But you watched it back then too,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So it might have been the
It
same
might feel
because this
different,
this
yeah.
felt very brutal back then. It's not
Back
by
then.
comparison.
Oh, we're so
I mean,
old.
especially
I mean-
even after having watched Midnight Meat Train, like
Mhm.
this is pretty tame gore-wise compared to Midnight Meat
Yeah.
Train.
Yeah.
But that
This
came
is like-
after. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
So,
Final
yeah, so I'm just-
Destination, like just got off a Scream. We're getting into more of those foreign, like don't travel, you'll die.
This
kind
is
of like,
your that's a good point actually.
Yeah.
The foreign movies like this and High Tension were starting to show how regular gore could be in your movie,
right.
and not push it into Texas Chainsaw Massacre, arenas. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway, it's interesting to view from that perspective.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
that's
now
what
we
I'm
have
saying,
some
like-
context
Yeah.
for us that liked it versus. So if you haven't seen the movie before, you might not enjoy it as well as Marcia and I do because you might have seen stuff akin to it.
Like,
However,
I'm not saying don't see it.
no,
It's-
okay. Well,
you
that's
know,
fair. You
like-
just weren't as big a fan as we were.
Right.
Okay.
It was, to me, very formulated. We watch a lot of shit on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, just continuing the story real quick, these kids are taking this trip across Australia. Their car breaks down, and a man drives up and is willing to help. He's like, I'm going south, and so
I
they're
you need to
so
go north.
happen
yeah,
to-
you're
I'm
going
going
north,
south.
I'm going south. Quite the bugger,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and like so.
I just so happen to have a tow truck.
Yeah, and I can fix your wagon, and stuff like that. But
do
so they decide to go, and that's the funny thing about this movie is they put the killer on Front Street, right?
That's
As
the
soon
funny
as he
thing.
shows up, like it's no messing about. Like they do play with it a little bit. Is he crazy? Isn't? But as soon as they fall asleep that first night, you wake up and boom, okay, we know
Yeah.
that this guy
right.
is
Well,
evil.
see, and that's why, like, as soon as dude showed up out in the middle of nowhere with a fucking tow truck, I'm like, all right, I already know where this is going.
Well, yeah, okay.
That, for me,
Like kick out
like,
the other way.
I mean, having watched all these movies,
in Australia,
Yeah, well, everything wants to kill you in Australia. People,
Everything.
creatures, everything. But anyway, so the acting, though. I thought the kids were okay. I thought, like Marcia said, the girl was strong.
Yeah.
I thought she did a pretty good job, and I loved the killer. And in fact, just so everyone knows, Wolf Creek did have a sequel, which we mentioned at the beginning. There's also now been 2 seasons of a Wolf Creek TV show.
Oh, I didn't
Really?
know
The
that.
first season is on Shudder,
Huh.
and it's the same killer.
Interesting.
I believe it's
Is
the
it the
same
same
killer. I
actor?
believe so.
Your friend.
So I'm actually, once we finish and do Wolf Creek 2, I am going to go through the series because it did well enough that it got a second season, and so
I need to get Shudder. I don't have Shudder.
oh, so worth the $5.
You
Yeah.
think?
So worth. With
I
Channel
got it.
Zero and all the other exclusives.
$5 a month. Or...
$5 a month, yeah.
Oh.
I
That's
got it, but I was like, I didn't see anything different.
Channel Zero. We can watch all the seasons of Channel Zero on there. We can watch Wolf Creek. They have a lot of stuff on there.
Wow,
that we
we've
can-
like derailed
Veered
a
off.
bit.
Yeah. Wolf Creek.
Anyway.
Oh.
Well, no, I mean not
Yeah.
really. We were talking about the series.
Yeah.
So okay. Let's focus in on what we liked versus maybe what you didn't like. So you felt it was predictable. What
Right.
else
Well,
didn't
no,
agree with you
it's-
about it?
I mean, the killings were. It was just very predictable. It was very formulated to me. Like, I can't really. It was really hard for me to keep interest in it, like I
Okay.
said. So,
Okay.
you guys could probably weigh in better.
Well, what
you like.
what was interesting to me about it is that it was almost like a baton passing in this
Uh-huh.
one, survivor-wise. Like they never really get the group back together. It's like a couple of characters meet up, we lose one that
Yeah.
we're not necessarily expecting to lose, and then we lose another one that we're not expecting to lose, and then we're like, poof, oh, there is another one still around from the group, and then we follow that one for a bit. So I do think that while that keeping me on my toes helped back then, it did feel a little bit like a weirdly paced film this time around. I will say that. It did feel a little bit weirdly paced because of the hopping sort of from character to character. It didn't feel as cohesive as maybe it once did to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I really dug the pacing. I thought the shots were appropriately, unnerving, and I thought the set dress was crazy good. All of that was amazing. So, I mean, I was actually a big fan of it. I mean, did you like the set dress and all of that? Is there, can you find things that you did appreciate about it?
Like I said, I'm not saying don't see it. I can see people that would appreciate it.
Marcia, you're turning completely away from the light.
I like to be in the dark.
Yeah, apparently.
But for me, for everything that I've seen, and I mean, I watched You Might Be the Killer right before this, so I mean...
It's a bar. It's a bar to set. Yeah.
I mean, so...
They're completely different.
Yeah, so I watched...
kind of a comedy kind of...
Right, so I watched You Might Be the Killer to this, and it just, so... Okay. I may have been still gushing from... I was like, oh, fuck, but his laugh...
You dried up?
His fucking laugh, though!
Yeah. All right. Well, I nailed it like twice this whole time. That's it.
One thing that still gets me about this movie is when he's, you know, fucking with that girl, and it's just like when she's all tied up to the pole and everything's going on, and he just like that scene still like gets to me because it's so creepy and terrifying. Like if you were in this situation, like how do you get out of this situation? And this guy is just so messed up and so controlled about the whole situation. Like this is not his first rodeo. He's prepared for this whole situation and to make sure he gets what he wants out of it. It's
piggybacking on that, actually, I think he's very disturbing too because he literally tells her what he's going to do to her.
Yeah.
How he's going to violate her sexually and stuff like that. And that, you don't see that often. It just kind of happens in a lot of other movies.
Human Centipede.
I don't liken it to that, no. No, I mean,
like
that's not...
It's same formula.
No,
like,
I disagree.
Yeah!
Human Centipede was way
Human Centipede was way after, and it was
okay, but I'm just saying,
scientist
like,
trying to perform an experiment. This is just
like,
a psycho telling her how he's going to break her down and, you know, take her against her will and then just kill her and stuff. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
To me.
Like, someone just breaking it down for you and then just anticipating it to happen. Like, that's...
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, there you go. Different scares for different folks.
Yeah, different strokes for different
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to, yeah.
Different pokes for different strokes.
Well, okay, so is there anything else that we want to say about it? I mean, Marcia, any other positives? Susie, any other negatives?
The sound design. I mean, I felt like for its time, like this movie was complete. It got me on every disturbing kind of level, but this is the type of movie that really gets me anyways because it's, you know, something that could potentially happen. If
I guarantee you, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody gets you and your 6 of your closest friends together for the night and not, like gets drugged.
Dude, why do you think Human Centipede got to me so much?
Well, they drop a factoid at the beginning of the movie that's probably bullshit, but it said like what 10,000 people go missing in the Australian outback every year.
90% of them
are never found again.
No. 90% of them are found within a month.
Oh.
The other 10% never found again.
Okay.
Never seen again.
So I mean, the other 10%, that's still 1,000 people a year.
I
that
guarantee
just go
you
missing
that's a true fact
in Australia.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's a lot of animals that want to eat you.
They're eat you, sting you, poison you, kill you forever. Yeah.
And you're out in the middle of nowhere. No one's gonna hear you scream. So.
Okay, Ridley Scott. So, that's going to do it for our review of Wolf Creek, you guys. We will be back to do our review and commentary for Wolf Creek 2, which has been a Patreon
have lots
request.
Of drink
we'll
issues
see.
For that.
Yeah, well, no, you'll be part of that.
Oh,
commentary.
We're going to do
You're
it right
stuck.
now. You knew that, right?
What?
We're not doing it today, no. But yes, that's going to do it for our review. Thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Cecil Von Slaughter.
I'm Marcia Becker.
And remember, stay scared.
Hi, everybody.
For the cold open, let's just all do is laugh. I'll do it first, then Susie, then you.
Okay.
All right, ready?
I'm not really good at impressions, just to be
Here you go.
warn you.
Really? You? All right.
I don't know
I'm
if you're
crying
aware
right
of
now. Oh
this.
my
I don't know if you're aware.
I had no idea.
No, okay, you just do Arnold again.
I'm shaking. just do that. It'll just progressively
All right,
get
ready?
worse.
Here we go.